Hello everyone. My topic is Vedic shastras such as Arthsasthra. I am Shanakshi from third semester of BSc Chemistry Honours. And using reference from Josiah J. Mark, who is the co-founder and content writer of World History Encyclopedia. He has lived in Greece and Germany, traveled extensively, especially thought Egypt, and presently traveled in upstate New York with his dog Shammy. The Arthshastra is an Indian treatise on politics, economics, military strategy, and the function of state and social organization attributed the philosopher and Prime Minister Kautilya, also known as Vishnugupta, in 350 to 275 BCE, who was instrumental in establishing the reign of the great king Chandragupta Maurya in 321 to 297 BCE, founder of Maurya Empire in 322 to 185 BCE. The Arthshastra is an Indian. This one is a picture of Maurya ringstone, which was a very famous history. The Arthshastra is thought to have been written by Kautilya as a kind of handbook for Chandragupta, instructing him in how to reign over a kingdom and encouraging direct action in addressing political concerns without regard for ethical considerations. The name of the work comes from the Sanskrit word artha, aim or goal, and shastra, treatise or book, and the goal of the work is comprehensive understanding of statecraft which will enable a monarch to rule effectively. The latter has somewhat been translated as the science of politics, the science of political economy, and the science of material gain. This last because Artha is understood in Hinduism as one of the fundamental aims of human being in pursuing wealth and social status. The, the Artha is informed both by Hinduism and the practicality of the philosophical school of Charvaka, which rejected the supernatural elements of the faith in favor of a completely materialistic view of universe and human existence. Charvaka claimed that only direct perception of any given phenomena could establish truth, and so encouraged a practical approach to life which include logical reason-based action in response to circumstance. The Arthshastra follows this same course in dealing with subjects such as when and how a ruler should assassinate family members or rivals, and how one should view foreign states as enemies who are contending for the same resource and power as oneself, and how to neutralize them most effectively. The Artha. Basically, a Artha refers to the pursuit of worldly good, personal success, stability, and social status. Actually, this is a small story or a great history also, which represents the deep meaning of Arthsasthra by our great philosophers. The work was not thought later reference to it in other pieces but was considered lost until a later copy was discovered in 1905 CE by the Sanskrit scholar Ruprapatna Samasastre in 1868 to 1944 CE, which the published in 1909 CE and then translated into English in 1915 CE. The Arthsasthra has since enjoyed international fame as one of the greatest political treatises ever written and is frequently compared to the Prince by the Italian political philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli of Renaissance fame. So the Arthsasthra, composed some 1500 years before the Prince, is still studied in the present day for its rational presentation of statecraft and its effectiveness in arguing for the state as an organic entity served best by the strong leader who is most important. Now let's study its authorship, origin and influences. In this work, the commonly credited to Kautilya, this claim has been challenged. The text itself alludes to three authors, Chanakya, Kautilya and Vishnugupta, and some other scholars claim these are three separate individuals while others maintain they are all the same person. This latter view asserts that Kautilya or Chanakya was his family name and the Vishnugupta his personal name. Scholarly consensus accept this claim as valid, nothing that all thought each name does appear separately at different points. All three clearly refers to the same person in one of the books. The concept expressed in Arthsasthra, at least in part, as thought to derive from older texts which were lost based on reference to Arthsasthra. In other works such as the Mahabharata, there is no scholarly consequence on this claim, however, because there is no way to compare the extant work with the supposed earlier version. Further, as noted, Artha is a concept does not refer solely to politics, military strategy, economics, animals, husbandry, marriage, or any of the other subjects addresses in the 15th book of the Arthsasthra. Artha refers to the pursuit of worldly good, personal success, stability, and social status. These support early Arthsasthra, therefore, could have dealt with any number of subjects along these lines. Quite possibility include politics, but there is no reason to conclude that the extant work is simply a revision of older piece. Now let's study. The main point is that Chanakya founded his energies on training Chandragupta to be king. The Arthsasthra can be considered the manual Chandragupta was tutoring, but the main thing is that Chanakya is Chandragupta. and he is training his own self to be a king. The main The most direct influence on the composition of the Arthsasthra is the philosophical school of Charvaka, which developed 600 BCE and is attributed to the religious reformer named Brihaspati. Chanakya rejected all the religious authority and scripture to focus on individual perception in establishing truth. It denied that existence of anything which could not be perceived by the sense and encouraged the pursuit of pleasure as the higher good in life. This philosophy, though it never developed into the formal school, exercises considerable influence in establishing an intellectual landscape of pragmatism and objective, rational response to phenomena discovered from the supernatural viewpoint of religious thought. This climate enabled the development of the kind of vision expressed in Arthshastra, but this vision is commonly accepted to be have specific to Chanakya or Kautilya, as part of his efforts in forming a pan-India empire led by the king of strong monarch. He trained Chandragupta to become Now, what is the political landscape of Chanakya or Chandragupta? In 14th century BCE, Indian political landscape was made up of a number of different kingdoms and politics, each vying with each other for greater control of resources. The most powerful of these was the kingdom of Magadha in the east, whose supremacy has been established by their king Bimbisara in 543 to 492 BCE. Bimbisara extended his kingdom territory throughout the northern and central area of the country, and his control was maintained by his successors until Alexander the Greater invaded in 326 BCE. But the king of Meghananda at this time was Dhanananda, who was known as the Macedonian Greek as Alexandrians and Agrames. This kind military might is said to have been legendary, according to the Roman historian Curtius, who described a standing army in Alexander's time of 20,000, conveying among other ascents from 200,000 infantry to 20,000 cavalry. This one is the public domain of Alexander the Greek. This one is the tales of the overwhelming strength of Dhanananda force contributed to the mutiny of Alexander's soldiers, who forced him to abandon his conquest of India and turn back to Mesopotamia. Alexander has already destabilized the region. However, through his invasion, the subjugation of various hostile tribes and kingdoms, and his clash with ring Porus of Purava at the Battle of Hadaspes River in 326 BCE. But in Porus is said to have told Alexander he could easily topple Magadha because Dhanananda was so unpopular that the people would support Alexander's cause. whatever. Porus actually said this. Dhanananda's arrogance and disdain for his peoples in well established, but there was no one to challenge his reason until they made the mistake of insulting the Brahmin Chanakya at an alms-giving ceremony, and afterwards Chanakya swore revenge. He approached Dhanananda's son Prabhata, encouraging him to depose his father, but also look an interest in young men who may have been part of the royal family. He approached Dhanananda's son Prabhata, encouraging him to depose his father, but also look an interest in young men who may have been part of the royal family. Thank you, and the main perspective of this presentation is to accept these stories and to know the deep meaning of Arthsasthra. This was a great word in our Hinduism or in our history also, but we don't too much explains about the Arthsasthra and his story. This was a little bit of the story of Arthsasthra, how it was established. Thank you. Thank you, and